in groups for them to understand it better.
Mm-hmm.
So am I understanding correctly that would any of you be able to tell me whether his friends, does he have a friend group that's distracting him? Is he like the leader of the distractions? Is he, you know, I mean, I know he likes math better than he likes other subjects. So, you know, maybe he's more engaged. Does he have, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out if he's bored, if that's why he's acting out, or,
Well,
you know.
Oh, as his English teacher, I do have students work individually, and it is a lot of material to go over. But it's mostly, we don't do smaller groups or anything. It's just mostly all individual work. As his math teacher, we do work in small groups, and we tend to have periods of times where we can work on like 2 things a day, and knowing that it's a lot to cram and for that subject.
It's hard for me to say as his ALC teacher just because there's never any more than 5 students in the class, and Jesus isn't causing any disruptions in my class.
And I think that that's a great point. So, and that's why I say we could only go off from the data that we collect when we're in the classroom and when the teachers are working with them. Because when they sit down with Jesus, or if Jesus is in a classroom, it's up to the staff there to be able to take on that data that they're at, even if I'm not there. So with the data that we're seeing, it just shows that when he's in the classroom environment, it could be a lot of things. It could be a distraction. It could be that he's unable to process the information right away. But from what we're seeing when it comes to the behavior is still staying the same. So with the data presented, the behavior is still staying the same. So we have to kind of look at his behavior and how he fidgets a lot, and how it almost seems like he's a little he's getting restless. I don't really see it that it's because of boredom, but I do see it that he's struggling to try to find the attention that he needs so that he can understand it better. And from the way it looks, and from us talking with Tamarin, we understand that when he's in those smaller settings, when he does have the extra time to be able to do his work, these are the things that we're seeing that's actually a benefit for him. And I would leave that open to any of the staff that are here present to say, what do you guys think? What's your understanding of it? Do you see this being relevant information for us to help them and possibly get him on a 504 plan that would be able to accommodate him in that way?
So what would the 504 plan give him? More time? Would it give him more one-on-one attention? Would he be in the ALC for all the courses? How would that look?
If we were to start a 504 plan for him, it would basically say that the special accommodations that we would put forward for your son is for us to be able to give him more time for testing, give him more time for reading, apply smaller groups, and things like that we come up with as a solution here at this meeting. So that
would the goal for that be after a little period of time? Would the goal be for him to eventually not need those supports, in hopes that his behavior changes, or are you saying you think the behavior will change once he's able to get
I think
these supports?
with us continuing on to look at this as a way to probably help him, and what we're seeing is success within his extra support that he's receiving from Alternative Learning Center, that it could be a possibility that with that extra support, it can help him be able to achieve his academic goals as well as his behavioral goals in the classroom. And I leave that open to anyone that's here at this meeting to chime in if you need to, what you guys think.
Right. So what I've been seeing is, we are early in the year, and Jesus has been referred to my office at a much higher rate than I see most students. It is happening during certain times. So just kind of, hearing from all of you, it seems to be going on in certain classes, not all subjects. But I guess as the assistant principal, one of my duties is to kind of act as that disciplinarian for the school. So I think the benefit of us having this 504 plan, if we were to proceed, would hopefully not lead us to having to implement one of those disciplinary plans, because we don't want to see Jesus miss school because of his behavior. We don't want to see him removed from certain activities because of his behavior. So our goal is to try and kind of figure out what works and what hasn't been working. So really what we've been hearing is what's working in certain areas hopefully can be applied to others.
Yeah, I don't want him to start missing school.
Okay, so as his English teacher, what do you guys suggest I do, since I don't have the help? I don't see how my classroom can work in smaller groups or extra time. I have a lot of material to go over. I just don't know what I can do, especially if he continues to, behave this way.
My question would be, when he starts displaying these behaviors, I think I just kind of need a better understanding of the timeline of the events. Is there anything that you implement to try and reduce the behavior, or is it straight to my office? I've seen Jesus quite a bit, and talking to him, he kind of just shuts down a little bit, kind of doesn't interact. But are we taking steps to try and fix the behavior before we send the referral?
Well, what I notice is when I ask, of the students to complete a task, I notice that Jesus usually has a lot of questions. I'll try to answer his questions. And then after that, I feel like he's just doing it on purpose. I'm not sure, because it's always a question after another question. And then when I tell him, okay, look, I need to move away, I need to help this other student, he starts to do things to distract others, either making jokes, raising his hand, and, making funny moves. And then I have to tell him, he can't do that in the class. He's disrupting others. And then this is when I see defiance, where he'll kind of shut down and won't do his work. And then that's when I've had to send him to your office, unfortunately.
I think that's the reasoning to why we want to be able to have a 504 plan in place. So I understand what you're saying, Maria, when it comes to the distraction and how that can probably pose some issues within your classroom when you're trying to get things established and you're trying to make sure that all the students are getting the same instruction and not being able to have that distraction at the same time. I think with the 504 plan, what it will do is make us say, okay, well, in certain areas where Jesus is having a problem, and let's say he really is seeking out that attention, that's probably a time for us to be able to do maybe a small group session with Jesus. That way, if in a small group session within your classroom, he can utilize students from being the model for him, being able to help him with certain problems that that those students are already advanced in that particular area. You can pair them up with them, and that way they can do some of the work that you would probably be doing when it comes to providing him with the attention that he needs to be successful in that particular area. And so, and even to utilize that strategy as a universal strategy, which means your whole classroom is using it as group sessions, that can probably alleviate some of that distraction that you're talking about. So that's the reason why I want us to consider moving on into a 504 accommodation plan, because it would make more sense so that we can be able to establish those strategies within the classroom. Not just for Jesus, but it will also be a benefit for all the students in the classroom by utilizing those strategies.
Okay.
Well, he'll be hearing about it from us at home too, about this behavior, because I haven't heard about any of this yet. So I will be questioning him and trying to do what I can to help him understand at home that this, behavior isn't not acceptable to the people that are trying to help him.
Right. And thank
And
you.
the other
I
students.
mean, that can also be placed. I mean, we can put up a communication between you and the teacher on a daily basis if you want. And then that way you guys can have communication between each other about how well he did. And then of course, being able to handle those situations at home as well, at least that you will be informed of everything as it's occurring.
That would be really helpful.
Is there any other concerns that we should be talking about right now from any of the other staff?
I don't have any more.
As his math teacher, he does fine in our class, so I'm good too.
And I think that that's another thing that we see where Jesus, I mean, we're talking about the problems right now, that are occurring at this point, and sometimes that can take more of the light than what Jesus is successful on in the classroom. We do know that he does well in math. We do know that he's pretty much a very well-tempered person when he's not getting frustrated when it comes to certain things like writing or reading. So we always know that there are all these good, things that Jesus can do. And we just want to make sure that we're meeting those needs now. And by establishing a 504 plan, I believe that we can meet it and really put that in place.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
So, Mrs. Rubio, right now, as his mother, how would you feel about proceeding with a 504 plan?
Well, when I came into the meeting, I wasn't feeling like I knew much about what was going on, but you all have explained it well. And I really would like to help support you guys supporting him. It feels like the right thing to do. Again, I'll be talking to him about it and, letting him understand that it's going to be a benefit to him, not that he's in trouble, but
No, and I think that's one of the key things is like we don't want to make him feel like he is any kind of trouble, but more so like he's being supported and making sure that everything that we provide for him is in a positive nature. So I want to thank all of you for coming in, and what we'll do is we'll contact our 504 coordinator. And then we'll make sure that each one of you get a copy of that, of what it is. We're also going to be making sure that we're providing those extra supports. Still, he'll be receiving support from the Alternative Learning Center. And then while he's in the classroom, like we had discussed, we'll be giving him more time for being able to do any of the tests that are he's given, and also making sure that he has more time to be able to finish his work, whether that be in the classroom, small group, or the Alternative Learning Center. And also, I think being able to still provide those positive supports that we're doing and being able to still provide those token economies that we've already established in the classroom will be a benefit for him as well. And giving him alternatives when it comes to his behavior, and that would be either whether or not he can take a break if he's feeling like he's frustrated and that's where he's feeling a little bit overactive. And we'll just keep continuing on to monitor.
I think all those things sound really great for him. My only concern is that he is gonna feel, maybe like he's a little bit in trouble, but I'm gonna really work on helping him understand that this is just for the benefit of everyone, himself included. Thank you all.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.